Meg Griffin has heard "Shut up, Meg" more times than anyone should in a lifetime. From family dinners to outer space, Peter somehow always finds a way to silence her. But which moment was the most brutal? Here are 15 of the funniest and most savage "Shut up, Meg" moments in Family Guy. Number 1. Season 11, Episode 17. It all begins when Peter Griffin completes his glorious reverse evolution into a full-blown caveman. His hair looks like a bird's nest, he's wearing nothing but underwear, he's covered in mud, and he can only communicate through primitive grunts.
I can't live by society's rules either!
After watching an old family video of himself back when he was still human, Peter lets out a proud roar and launches himself straight through the window into the wild. Realizing his idiot dad has completely lost his brain, Stewie tries using music to communicate. He plays "War, What Is It Good For?" and then "I Like Big Butts," with Peter surprisingly keeping perfect rhythm by going like a monkey who just discovered karaoke.
Let's go and let's take it from the top.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
That night, Lois wakes up to strange noises behind the house and finds Peter digging through the trash for old chicken bones. She angrily sends him away, only to find her beaded shirt in the garbage. Stewie immediately hits her with the brutal reality check. "You're 43, just accept it."
Who threw out my sequin top?
You're 43, accept it.
When Quagmire and Joe stop by, and Peter still can't say anything but nonsense, Brian sadly tells Lois that maybe it's time to return Peter to the wild. So the family takes him to the forest, conveniently located behind an Arby's. Lois tearfully removes his leash and tells Peter to be free, promising that her heart will always belong to him. As the sad music plays, Peter slowly crawls into the bushes. Then Meg steps forward for one final goodbye. "I'll always remember you, Dad. Wherever you are, you'll always be a great father to me."
But you're better off here.
Why are we dragging this out? It's 6:30.
And somehow, Meg's voice becomes the ultimate cure. Peter suddenly freezes. His entire body tenses as he desperately fights his way back to humanity. His throat struggles to form the words. Shut up, Meg."
Shut up, Meg.
Lois goes crazy with excitement as Peter miraculously regains his ability to speak. And Peter isn't done yet. He gathers every last ounce of his strength and screams, "Shut up, Meg!" And just like that, Peter's brain is fully healed.
Shut up, Meg.
Peter! Yeah!
You're back!
Yay!
Apparently, the cure for Peter's brain damage was simply bullying Meg. Peter casually walks back to the car with the family, while Meg is left standing there in stunned silence. Forget modern medicine. Apparently, all Peter needed was a good old "Shut up, Meg." Number 2, Season 8, Episode 20. A long time ago, in a ridiculously huge Imperial spaceship floating through space, Darth Vader is busy arguing with the janitor Consuela because the floor still isn't clean. Their argument is interrupted when Emperor Palpatine calls.
I can't hear you. I'm going to the knee pad. I'm gonna call you from the knee pad.
Vader immediately drops his spray bottle and rushes to his kneeling pad to answer, only for Palpatine to completely ignore the important stuff and start selling off his old CD collection. After sealing the deal by giving Vader a Richard Marx CD, the Emperor finally gives him a mission: find Luke Skywalker and lure him to the dark side.
Maybe I can make him go by, but all the way is gonna be tough.
Oh, I mean, turn him to the dark side.
Well, yeah, I thought that's what you... Oh, of the Force.
Yes.
Vader responds by proudly showing off the Empire's hilariously stupid recruitment video, promising free college, military wives, and romantic picnics on Alderaan, right before the entire planet gets blown to pieces.
We had our honeymoon on Alderaan.
Good thing we took pictures, huh?
Meanwhile, somewhere else in the galaxy, Han Solo, Peter, Leia, Lois, Chewbacca, Brian, and C-3PO, Quagmire, are hiding inside a cave on an asteroid. Feeling suspicious, Lois sends Peter outside to investigate. Wearing oxygen masks, the group steps onto the sticky ground, only to be attacked by a swarm of space bats. As Peter wildly fires his gun, he notices that every time the ground shakes, everyone gets launched into the air.
Just a minute. Time out. This ain't quite right.
Realizing something is seriously wrong, Peter orders everyone back onto the Millennium Falcon and they blast off into space. Then the camera pulls back and reveals the horrifying truth. The cave was actually the stomach of a gigantic space worm. Even crazier, the worm's head emerging from the ground has Meg Griffin's face and her signature pink beanie. Meg immediately starts complaining that after all those special episodes, she still never gets a decent line. But before she can finish, Peter's voice echoes from the fleeing spaceship. "Shut up, Meg!" Furious and offended, Meg the space worm angrily crawls straight back into the hole.
How come I never get any lines in these things?
Shut up, Meg.
Number 3, Season 17, Episode 7. It all starts at the Griffin house when Meg shows up in full biathlon gear, proudly asking if the family is coming to support her at the Olympics. Peter casually says no because he's busy watching a TV channel that shows nothing but a burning log, just so he can listen to the wood go crackle.
I don't know. The Yule Log channel just put on another log, and I really like it when the wood goes crack, crack, pop, crack, pop.
Lois completely agrees, but the moment Meg sadly says she'll drive herself in the Jeep, Peter's eyes light up. Suddenly, he rallies the whole family for a ridiculously violent Jeep commercial, bouncing across rough terrain while suffering unbearable pain in his two most precious possessions.
Punishment in
My
large
balls!
doses and
I like
comes
safe
back
driving.
for more.
My balls!
When they finally reach the snowy arena, Peter admits the whole trip was just an excuse to wear his old winter coat and dig out last year's treasures: a sweaty coin, an expired dentist appointment card, tissues covered in last season's flu germs, and even a yarmulke.
And balled up tissues with last year's flu on it.
You done with your pocket bits? It's freezing.
Then, curious about the shooting part of biathlon, Peter excitedly puts on his skis, accidentally shoots himself straight in the head, starts bleeding everywhere, and casually declares, "I'm getting the hang of it."
Here we go. All right, I think I'm getting the hang of it.
While watching the competition from the stands, Peter asks Chris about his hidden talent, only to get the innocent revelation that Chris is the edging champion of Quahog.
It's the practice of erotic sexual denial.
Go wait in the car.
Horrified by this discovery, Peter immediately kicks Chris back to the car, leading to a completely ridiculous voiceover microphone battle between producer Ron Howard, actress Kristen Bell, and a bargain bin Morgan Freeman impersonator in the parking lot.
My name is Josh Robert Thompson, and I perform for scale.
Meanwhile, on the race course, the starting gun scares one athlete so badly that he passes out, giving Meg the perfect chance to make a furious charge toward the lead. But just as she gets close to first place, the #1 racer blocks her, only to reveal herself as Lacey Chabert, Meg's original voice actress from Season 1.
You're going down, Meg.
Lacey Chabert?
That's right. This should be my Olympic.
The two Megs immediately go head-to-head, screaming, "Shut up, Meg!" at each other across the snowy track. Their ridiculous battle finally comes to an end when Peter's voice suddenly echoes from afar with the one phrase powerful enough to defeat both Megs at once. "Shut up, Meg!" And just like that, both Megs go completely silent and helplessly ski away.
Shut up, Meg!
No, you shut up, Meg.
No! You shut up, Meg!
Shut up, Meg.
Number 4, Season 6, Episode 9. It all begins when James Woods, through some completely ridiculous Hollywood magic, somehow steals Peter Griffin's house, identity, and even his entire family.
Those are my clothes.
Oh, come on.
You heard him, fella. Take him off. Right down to the poop sack.
Kicked out of his own home, Peter sneaks into the backyard to rescue Brian, who's been tied to a wooden post. But before they can even have a reunion, James Woods suddenly steps out the back door with a shotgun, threatening to hit Peter with a random cutaway gag so brutal it could destroy him forever.
It's up to you, Peter. Either you leave now, or I set up one of your random flashbacks.
All right, okay.
Terrified by such professional-level evil, Peter raises his hands and retreats, dramatically shouting back at Lois, "I'll come back for you, Lois! I'll have dozens of killer cutaways ready, like that time I swallowed a tiny clown just to make you laugh!" Meanwhile, Peter and Brian are forced to live in a miserable motel, complaining about their unbelievably crappy luck.
James Woods has taken my life and my family.
Back at the house, James Woods quickly settles in and starts playing the role of the world's most questionable dad. He walks into Meg's room and introduces her to Mr. Vomit, Hollywood's legendary weight loss trick that involves sticking your fingers down your throat. After Meg throws up, James somehow transforms her into a long-legged Hollywood model.
Now close your eyes, Meg, and let Mr. Pukey help you out.
Then he kicks back on the couch and teaches Chris how to pick up women with some extremely inappropriate stories about actress Heather Graham, leaving Chris staring in admiration. Wow, that sounds classy. Unable to tolerate losing his house any longer, Peter comes up with a supposedly brilliant plan, one he claims is even smarter than the time he performed a card trick for a blind man.
Was it a red card?
I don't know what red is.
Ta-da!
That night, while the Griffin family enjoys a cozy dinner with James Woods, Chris proudly introduces his new friend, Scooter. Sitting down at the table is a huge, chubby student wearing a striped shirt and a backwards cap. Of course, it's Peter in disguise.
Hello, Scooter.
Hi, Scooter.
Hey, everybody! Sure is swell to have me over.
Lois happily welcomes Scooter and offers him his favorite meatloaf. Peter puts on a childish voice and excitedly replies, "Oh, Lizard Tail! Meatloaf is my favorite, Mrs. G!" But then Meg innocently asks, "Scooter, how come we've never seen you before?" Peter doesn't even bother keeping up the act. He immediately cuts her off in his normal voice. "Shut up, Meg!"
Scooter, how come we've never met you before?
Shut up, Meg.
Classic Peter Griffin, disguise himself as his son's imaginary friend just to crash dinner, steal some meatloaf, and finally get another chance to shut Meg up. Number 5. Season 18, Episode 14. In the majestic underground kingdom of Quahog's version of Wakanda, Peter Griffin stands before the king as countless people gaze at him with admiration. The king emotionally grabs Peter's hand and says, "Peter, your decision to kneel during the national anthem has awakened millions to the injustice in this world." But behind Peter's awkward smile and buckets of nervous sweat, his brain is actually going into full panic mode.
Of course, being an activist, you already know all about them.
He thinks this trapped feeling is even worse than being a sports commentator stuck inside a tiny 1 square meter booth, where two men are practically face to face, their lips almost touching, yet somehow still trying to sound professional.
Truly excited about today's matchup.
Straight from your mouth into mine, partner.
Forced to step onto a stage in front of thousands of people waiting for his speech, Peter takes a deep breath and finally tells the truth. "Guys, I didn't kneel to protest for human rights. I knelt because I really had to poop." To save himself from the awkwardness, he quickly suggests replacing the national anthem with a new song that can unite everyone. Pulling out a sparkly pink phone, Peter blasts the children's song T-D-D-Doo-Doo. And somehow, a miracle happens. The Griffin family, the athletes, and even Carter Pewterschmidt all place their hands over their hearts and listen with tears in their eyes to this supposedly sacred new national anthem. Meanwhile, Peter solemnly dances along and sings, "I'm on my way to the bathroom. Gotta poop again."
I'm making my way to the bathroom. I have to poop again.
With the crisis finally over, peace returns to the Griffin living room. Lois suddenly notices that Meg is strangely missing, and Chris casually explains that she's been traded to American Dad and is doing just fine. But the moment they turn on the TV, they see Meg in her pajamas happily singing the Good Morning USA transition song.
Morning USA, ba-da-ba-da-ba stands the dad and the aliens gay.
Before she can even finish, Stan Smith walks out of the bathroom holding a razor and immediately yells, "Shut up, Meg!" Roger, standing nearby, can only nod in sympathy, and Meg sadly realizes the brutal truth. Apparently, switching universes doesn't change her fate. She's still the family punching bag.
Shut up, Meg.
Oh, so it's just gonna be the same?
Yep. Yeah.
Number 6, Season 4, Episode 23. The episode opens with a peaceful scene in the Griffin living room, where Brian is sprawled across the couch, glued to the TV while watching some bizarre soap opera.
Oh, they took my chest out and threw it over there. Then they pulled my legs out and threw them over there.
The peace doesn't last long. Lois comes home with a pile of groceries, complains about Brian being lazy, and tells him to get a part-time job, just like the good old days when Peter worked at Burger King. Cue a flashback to Peter's glorious fast food era.
I gotta run, I gotta run, I gotta run, I gotta run.
Wearing a ridiculous uniform and paper hat, the chubby dad enthusiastically lip-syncs to the Friar's magical "Ding, fries are ready," while desperately trying to upsell customers on apple pie.
I work at Burger King making flamboyant Whoppers. I wear paper hats. Would you like an apple pie with that?
Just then, Meg excitedly rushes in to announce that she landed an internship at Mayor West's office. Apparently, she completely crushed the interview with some next-level intellectual brilliance. The mayor says mosquito, Meg replies bite, and the two keep repeating the same two words until Mayor West finally declares her a formidable opponent.
Bite.
Mosquito.
Oh, yes, good one. Mosquito.
Bite.
Mosquito.
Bite.
Mosquito.
Bite.
Bite.
Mosquito.
Aha!
Seeing the perfect opportunity to roast Brian, Peter pops his head over the couch, bursts out laughing, and announces that Brian is officially the new Meg of the family. Before Brian can even process the insult, Peter snatches Meg's pink beanie and plops it straight onto Brian's head.
Brian's the new Meg. Brian's the new Meg.
Suddenly, the entire Griffin family turns into a pack of merciless trolls. Chris appears beside the couch, dancing and singing to mock Brian. Lois claps along, and Meg proudly points at Brian, convinced she has finally escaped her lifelong role as the family punching bag. But just as Meg is celebrating her glorious victory, Peter appears right behind her with a completely deadpan expression and delivers the ultimate reality check. Shut up, Meg.
Yeah, you're the new me.
Shut up, Meg.
Meg immediately goes silent, her victory shattered in one sentence. Meanwhile, Brian just sits there wearing the pink hat, staring into the void as he slowly realizes he has somehow been demoted to the lowest ranking member of the Griffin family. Number 7, Season 13, Episode 1. The Family Guy and The Simpsons crossover feels like a head-on collision between two generations of adult animation. The nostalgic, relatively wholesome vibe of the 90s crashing straight into the unhinged, chaotic insanity of the 2000s. It all starts with some good old-fashioned Springfield corruption. When Peter Griffin goes to the police station to report his stolen car, Chief Wiggum casually tosses the report into a spinning filing cabinet, basically a fancy trash can, because Peter never paid for the police prom.
I gotta be honest, I don't usually check this file, so it might be a while until we find that courier.
Desperate, Homer invites the Griffins to stay at his house, where Marge is complaining about murderous hippie gangs, while Bart has just been kicked out of summer camp for supergluing the camp counselor's butt cheeks together. But the real culture shock comes when Stewie hears Bart's legendary "Eat my shorts" and stares in amazement like he's just discovered a priceless Roman artifact.
I love that. Is that a popular expression, like what the deuce?
Probably more popular. Probably way more popular.
The difference in how far each show is willing to go reaches its peak during the prank calls to Moe's Tavern. Bart starts with a classic prank, tricking Moe into looking for his fictional friend, Lee Key Bum, sending Moe screaming across the bar while everyone laughs at him.
And you probably shouldn't be handling food.
Stewie decides to give it a shot. He leans toward the microphone, throws subtlety out the window, and delivers a very Family Guy punchline. "Hey Moe, your sister's being raped." Then he hangs up. Bart is left completely speechless, realizing Stewie has just taken prank calls to a whole new level of shock value.
Hello, Mo. Your sister's being raped. Is that one?
Meanwhile, upstairs, Lisa is trying to use some deep Nelson Mandela-style wisdom to motivate Meg. She encourages her to stand tall and shout out her true worth. Meg gathers every last ounce of self-esteem and screams, "I have value!"
That's why you have to say it. So say it.
I matter.
Louder!
But less than a second later, Peter's voice echoes from downstairs and destroys the entire motivational moment. "Shut up, Meg. You don't have any value." And just like that, Lisa's entire motivational speech gets obliterated by Peter Griffin in under 1 second.
I matter.
Louder!
I matter!
Shut up, Meg. You don't matter.
Number 8, Season 7, Episode 16. It all begins aboard a sailing ship drifting across the ocean, where Peter Griffin, playing the role of Griffin Peterson, barely sits down before getting a splinter stuck in his hand. Naturally, Peter reacts like he's starring in a Shakespearean tragedy, dramatically raising his hand to the sky and delivering his final words because he's convinced he's about to die.
What'd you do?
I slept with an underage virgin to cure my puff penis.
Watching their friend face such a ridiculously pointless death, two exiles sitting nearby, Joe, who was kicked out for masturbating in front of a medieval painting, and Quagmire, who slept with a virgin to cure his swollen penis, start opening up about their troubled pasts. Then, because apparently things weren't weird enough, Seamus suddenly appears with 2 wooden legs, challenges everyone to a knife-throwing game, and somehow declares himself the winner.
1-0.
After finally reaching the new world, Peter jumps onto a giant rock and proudly declares the founding of Quahog, along with the most hilariously messed up idea of equality in history. Everyone will have equal rights, except black people, Asians, Jews, gay people, women, and Muslims.
Everybody who's not a white man. And I mean white, so no Italians, no Polish, just people from Ireland, England, and Scotland.
Basically anyone who isn't a proper white man. Actually, nobody gets any rights.
Just full-blooded whites. No, you know what? Not even whites. Nobody gets any rights.
The new settlement quickly becomes a thriving little town, complete with all kinds of businesses, including an ancient abortion clinic where the procedure apparently involves riding a roller coaster and getting launched face first into the ground.
Meanwhile, across the ocean in England, Queen Lois is stuck living a miserable life with the bizarre King Stewie, who constantly rejects her advances with increasingly ridiculous scheduling excuses.
Oh, we can have sex right now on the table.
Hey. We eat here.
Then Brian the Clown delivers a newspaper with the shocking headline, "America, home of the fattest settlement on Earth," featuring a picture of Peter happily devouring a chicken leg. Lois immediately decides to sail to America and reunite with her old love.
Followed by an all-new, slowly rotating black man.
Unfortunately, Peter believes Lois is dead and has already married his new wife, Meg.
We should probably open up some windows.
Back in their tiny wooden house, Meg starts nagging Peter about every little detail, including how he cleaned a cornmeal-covered kettle. After all the built-up frustration finally explodes, Peter turns to her, puffs out his chest, and delivers a legendary medieval-style shutdown. "Shut up, Meg. I prithee, shut up."
I'd missed another spot, and there was a clump of cornmeal under the rim from when I made breakfast.
Shut up, Meg. I prithee, shut up.
Number 9, Season 7, Episode 5. It all begins when new Brian arrives and instantly wins everyone over with his ridiculously thoughtful personality.
Whose leg do you have to hump to get a hug around here?
Instead of using an annoying alarm clock, the new dog sits at the foot of Peter and Lois's bed and gently plays the flute to wake them up. Lois is completely charmed, while Peter just wants to sleep for 5 more minutes.
I'll start up again in 9 minutes.
New Brian then turns his psychological warfare toward Meg, acting like a devoted therapist who patiently listens to her disgusting school secrets before subtly handing her a stick of deodorant as the most brutally polite hint imaginable.
Are you sure I'm old enough?
Oh, I think so. I'm gonna make you a little less gross every day.
Even Peter is completely won over when new Brian brings a guitar into the kitchen and improvises a musical accompaniment to every one of Peter's farts, turning a stupid fart joke into a full-blown artistic masterpiece. Peter is so impressed that he starts treating new Brian like his new soulmate. While new Brian racks up points with his charm, sophistication, and freakishly accurate celebrity impressions, the old Brian falls into a full-blown existential crisis. Stewie, being Stewie, immediately twists the knife by telling Brian that new Brian isn't here to be his friend, he's here to replace him.
I'm through listening to you.
Fine. Think what you want, aging supermodel Carol Alt.
Stewie compares Brian to an aging supermodel who's about to be kicked to the curb for a younger, fresher replacement. Desperate to win back his family's affection, Brian pulls out his ultimate weapon, an old VHS tape featuring his adorable childhood memories, from chewing bones and going on picnics to wearing a Santa hat while digging in the dirt. But naturally, things don't go according to plan. Brian's heartfelt attempt to remind everyone how lovable he used to be completely fails. The entire Griffin family ignores the TV and gathers around new Brian, who's peacefully sleeping on the floor, obsessing over what the new dog might be dreaming about.
Did you hear that?
He farted.
Just like in the song.
The Brian replacement project ends on a hilariously painful note, capped off by Peter's usual brutal, "Shut up, Meg," while the old Brian is left standing alone and completely forgotten in his own living room.
Oh, I wonder what he's dreaming about.
Shut up, man.
Number 10, Season 17, Episode 18. Lois Griffin has officially gone completely off the rails. After reading Throw It Away, she decides to turn the Griffin house into a minimalist war zone. First, she kicks Peter out.
What's happening again?
I'm asking you to leave the house.
The house that I pay for?
Then she storms into the living room, snatches the hats off Meg and Chris, only to reveal that both of their heads are completely flat, like giant Lego bricks. Without a hint of sympathy, Lois declares that her kids look like building blocks, leaving Chris to bitterly apologize for being born this way.
You kids are Legos?
I'm sorry you had to find out this way, Mom.
When Brian happily walks in with a hot pizza, Lois grabs it and throws it straight out the window, declaring, "A clean house means a clean mind." Brian desperately screams because he hasn't even had a bite.
A clean house means a clean soul, and a clean soul is a happy one.
Chris reminds him that losing the pizza is nothing compared to Lois literally kicking Peter out of the house. Stewie can only sigh and sarcastically complain that Lois's recent cutaway gags have become so minimalist, they're not even funny anymore.
Donald Trump's hair is unusual.
Meanwhile, Peter is enjoying his homemade version of the high life in a rented storage unit next to the highway, surrounded by random junk. From a grilled fish model to an old Vespa, Peter convinces himself that he's actually the winner because he gets to live with all his favorite possessions.
I get to sleep with all my stuff in a storage unit on the highway access road.
Unfortunately, his OCD comes back to haunt him. Peter tries throwing a basketball into a makeshift plastic hoop, misses, and spends the entire night repeatedly getting up and shooting it again because he's convinced something terrible will happen if he doesn't make the shot.
Something bad's gonna happen if you don't do it.
Back at the Griffin house, the nightmare continues when Lois discovers Stewie's time machine in the attic. She angrily drags the massive machine down the stairs, and every time it slams into a step, it explodes and sends the family flying through bizarre alternate realities, from 1970s disco dancers and 18th century French aristocrats with gigantic wigs to astronauts encountering Bender from Futurama, and finally, prehistoric times, where they're chased by a T-Rex.
Thank God, everything's back to normal.
Gross.
Completely consumed by her minimalist rage, Lois starts terrorizing the kids. She snatches Meg's glasses and crushes them because they supposedly don't bring her joy.
I need them to see.
They're not bringing me joy!
When Stewie whispers to Brian about taking Lois down, Chris stops them because he knows his mother currently has the power of a certified psychopath. Lois then notices a weird squiggly thought cloud floating above Chris's head and orders him to erase it.
I will not have your comic strip anger cluttering up my house.
Furious, Chris suddenly transforms into a cartoon 1930s style steam whistle, blasts the cloud of hot air, and runs away.
You've made me 1930s work whistle angry!
Finally, for absolutely no reason whatsoever, Lois turns to Meg and declares that her voice is polluting the living space. Then she casually shoves Meg straight out of the house. At this point, "Shut up, Meg" isn't even necessary. Lois has upgraded to "Get out, Meg."
Shut up, Meg.
Well, I didn't say anything.
You just did. Your voice, it's cluttering up my space. Get out.
But
get out of my house.
Number 11, Season 10, Episode 22. Brian and Stewie are dressed in fancy tuxedos, sitting like kings in director's chairs inside a cramped room buried under mountains of fan mail. With their usual fake sophistication, Stewie brings up the old viewer mail episode and thanks the fans for sending ideas for the past 10 years.
We want to let you know we kicked around your idea, make the baby go wild for a while. Couldn't really find an angle on it.
Brian immediately roasts a fan named Rashad from Little Rock, admitting that his idea, "Let the baby go crazy," is so vague they have absolutely no idea what to do with it. Then Stewie reads a letter from Lee Mills in Iowa asking whether Family Guy is based on another show. Stewie jokingly claims it's based on The Simpsons.
In fact, Family Guy is based on an American television series called The Simpsons. Haha.
Brian quickly tries to save the situation by explaining that Family Guy, just like The Office, was actually remade from a legendary British sitcom called Chap of the Manor.
Actually, Family Guy, much like The Office, is based on a British series called Chap of the Manor.
The screen suddenly switches to a full BBC One style presentation. The British Griffin family appears in all their glorious misery, buck teeth, painfully formal outfits, and aristocratic-looking school uniforms. Even Brian has been replaced by a white horse casually sitting on the couch. The family gathers around to watch Britain's #1 game show, Wheel of Politeness. Instead of fighting to spin the wheel, the three contestants keep politely insisting that the others should go first. They waste the entire broadcast being ridiculously courteous, forcing the host to repeatedly apologize to the audience for the endless awkwardness.
This has all been an imposition. I'm so dreadfully sorry.
Sorry, everyone.
After the game show ends, British Lois turns off the TV and invites everyone to eat some incredibly bland boiled lamb. Peter immediately refuses because he wants to go drinking with his friends. Lois complains that he spends too much time at a pub called The Fox and Pig and Dog and Wolf and Cat and Storks and Whistles and Chicken.
Down at the fox and pig and dog and wolf and cat and fiddle and whistle and cock.
But Peter fires back that place is only for amateurs. Today, he's drinking at another pub with a name twice as ridiculously long. So long that saying it would probably require an intermission.
We're meeting at the dog and cat and bull and whistle and fiddle and cock and pig and wolf and carriage and fife and other wolf.
Unable to stop him, Lois asks Peter to stay behind and discipline Chris, whose British name is Collingsworth, because she caught him that morning with a fag in his mouth. Peter assumes his son is trying to act tough and angrily throws an entire box of cigarettes at him.
So you fancy fags, do you? Well, here, have a old carton of fags.
When Chris awkwardly explains that he just wants a girl to look at him with affection, British Meg jumps in and offers to look at everyone lovingly. Peter doesn't even hesitate. He turns to her and delivers the perfect British shutdown. Shut up, British Meg.
I look on you with favor. I look on all of you with favor.
Shut up, British Meg.
Number 12, Season 18, Episode 5. It all begins when Lois decides to ship 2 of her kids off to Sunrise Woods Bible Camp. The moment they get out of the car, they're bombarded by the counselor's terrifyingly enthusiastic energy. While Meg is already speechless, Chris innocently asks why all the trees are growing so close together, only for Lois to hit him with the brutally obvious answer. That's called a forest, Chris.
Why are all these trees bunched together?
Those are woods, Chris.
I only like room.
The episode immediately cuts to a classic Family Guy gag, a family of mosquitoes sitting around watching TV. The little mosquito gets curious and pokes his dad with his proboscis, causing dad to angrily shut off the TV and declare, "This show isn't appropriate for a mosquito family."
Also in the 1940s, 6 million Jews died.
That's it. We're done. This show is not for the Bugstein.
At camp, the kids are told to draw a portrait of Jesus. Lois and the counselor nearly have a heart attack when Chris turns Jesus into a ridiculously jacked up warrior. Then comes the baptism ceremony in the river.
Chris, stop relieving yourself. You've got those pea eyes.
Chris gets dunked underwater, absolutely loving it, and immediately asks for one more.
Brother Chris.
Do it again.
Lois tries to refuse because she just got her hair done, but the counselor forces her head underwater anyway. She emerges covered in mud, leaves, and twigs, looking like she just survived a psychological war.
My ex-husband had Nazi paraphernalia and he left me.
By dinner, Lois has officially had enough. While the counselor closes her eyes and leads everyone through a silent 60-second prayer, Lois quietly reaches into the nearby purse, steals the car keys, grabs Chris, sneaks back to the car, and peels out of the camp like she just escaped prison.
And the first one to open their eyes is gay.
Meanwhile, a blonde little boy falls madly in love with a stuffed deer head hanging on the wall. Their bizarre romance unfolds through an absurdly romantic montage, canoeing at sunset, baking cookies, stargazing, and finally a passionate embrace and kiss silhouetted against the tent wall, leaving everyone watching it wondering what the hell they just witnessed. Back home, the family is watching the news when Brian suddenly looks around and asks, "Wait, where's Meg?" Lois casually explains that Meg got angry and ran away to live with a Japanese family.
Oh, she was so mad I dragged her to Christian camp.
And then comes the episode's most insane plot twist. The screen suddenly transforms into a sparkly 90s Japanese anime, complete with glowing colors and dramatic effects. Meg has somehow been reborn as an adorable anime schoolgirl, happily sitting down for dinner with her new Japanese family. Then, out of nowhere, her massive sumo-looking Japanese father turns toward her and delivers the one phrase that follows Meg across every universe. "Shut up, Meg."
Amale Meg. Family Guy over on Foxy.
Number 13, Season 8, Episode 10. The Griffin family is once again delivering peak insanity while sitting on the couch watching the cinematic masterpiece Lawrence of Arabia. Unfortunately, the movie is being shown in Ultra CinemaScope, making the entire film look like a tiny horizontal line surrounded by a giant black screen. While Lois complains that she can't see anything, and Brian and Stewie discuss actor Peter O'Toole, Peter immediately points out that both his first and last names are slang for a penis.
You film buffs might enjoy this. Both his first and last names are slang for penis.
Just then, the news interrupts with a big announcement. The legendary game show Family Feud is coming to Quahog, offering a $5,000 prize. Peter's eyes light up like he just found buried treasure. Instead of thinking about bills or the family's future, he comes up with a brilliant plan. Use the money to buy a massive cave and place it in front of the house just to stop the neighborhood kids from coming anywhere near him.
You kids stay out of that cave. You don't know what's in there. Money well spent.
At the audition in the community center, the judges ask if the family has any interesting stories for television. Peter immediately cuts Lois off and drops a deeply traumatic family secret. When Chris was born, Lois suffered such severe injuries that doctors had to stitch her back together and even create a brand new opening right next to the old one. Basically like building a new bridge beside an ancient, crumbling bridge.
Lois was so wrecked they had to sew her up and open up a new vagina right next to the first one.
While Lois stands there completely mortified, the judges absolutely love it. They choose the Griffins because the rival family has 3 daughters, while the Griffins conveniently have 3 sons. Meg starts to protest that she's actually a girl, but Peter immediately turns to her and snaps, "Shut up, Craig!
You have 3 sons."
But I'm not.
Shut up, Greg.
And just like that, Meg officially becomes Peter's imaginary son, Craig, all to protect the family's shot at television fame. Number 14, Season 11, Episode 9. It all starts in class when Chris Griffin makes teacher Mrs. Donovan want to crawl into a hole by reading a brutally honest essay exposing her private life. From wearing sweatpants at home and eating an entire jar of cookie dough, to crying and vomiting, and even sticking doll clothes onto a picture of her bedside lamp.
She always throws up right after. Then she puts paper doll clothes on a picture of a sonogram.
Chris, I think you should stop.
Despite the teacher begging him to stop, Chris insists he tried his best. He reminds everyone that he isn't some legendary writer like Nathaniel Hawthorne, whom Chris imagines sitting in the old days proudly telling his wife he's ruining the lives of 9th graders.
Nathaniel, what are you doing?
Just ruining 9th grade for everyone.
Peter and Lois are then called into the principal's office because Chris submitted a drawing of Bob from Bob's Burgers for an advanced art assignment.
Oh my.
I'm very embarrassed.
Well, someone should be.
Faced with hopeless parenting, the principal proposes a brilliant educational strategy. Treat Chris like the stray cats around the school. Feed him for a few years, then hand him a diploma and send him on his way. Lois is horrified, but Peter actually agrees, convinced those cats are destined for greatness, like that one cat wearing a doctor's coat.
Yep.
That night, while Peter lies in bed hypnotized by the TV and somehow gets forced into promoting Breaking Bad to the entire world, he and Lois worry about Chris's bleak future. Lois wonders how he'll survive after they're gone, and the future suddenly flashes before them. An elderly, gray-haired Chris sits on the couch, surrounded by stuffed trophy heads of Peter and Lois on the wall, both lip-syncing to Hooked on a Feeling.
Deep inside of me.
Their concern quickly turns into complaining when Peter gets annoyed that Chris is not only stupid, but somehow has breasts. Just then, the bedroom door swings open. Chris stands there in tears, having caught his parents talking trash about him instead of, well, doing what married couples normally do.
I just wanted to listen to you guys have sex, but you were saying mean things about me.
Lois desperately denies everything, but Peter comes up with an emergency lie worthy of a Griffin. "We weren't talking about you. We were talking about Meg. We just called her Chris so she wouldn't know." Then Meg's voice suddenly comes from the next room, protesting the obvious lie. Peter doesn't even hesitate. He turns toward the window and screams, "Shut up,
Chris! We were talking about Meg. We call her Chris so she doesn't know. Shut up, Chris!
The completely undeserved rage lands directly on Meg, while Chris realizes he's just been played. He sadly covers his face, runs back to his room crying, and the day ends exactly as it should in the Griffin household. No matter who screws up, Meg somehow takes the bullet. Number 15, Season 21, Episode 14. The basketball game at Adam West High could have been one of Meg's proudest moments if Peter Griffin hadn't shown up in the stands and turned it into his personal roast session.
Hey, Meg, I can see your penis. Yeah, she looked.
She did look.
Sitting with Lois and Quagmire, Peter puts his whole heart into screaming and relentlessly mocking his daughter with his signature booming voice. Unfortunately, all that yelling finally destroys his throat, leaving him completely voiceless.
Hey, Meg, you play like Kobe. Beef! Jiminy Christmas!
Worried about her husband, Lois takes Peter to Dr. Hartman. While casually reheating a calzone in the microwave, Dr. Hartman delivers the bad news. Peter has severe laryngitis and must absolutely not speak for a week, or he could permanently lose his voice. Lois responds to this terrifying medical warning by silently grabbing a pen and drawing a ridiculously stupid picture of Garfield.
That's a very good Garfield, Peter.
Ugh, not even close.
Back at the gym, losing his voice hasn't done a thing to stop Peter from ruining his daughter's big moment. He brings a small whiteboard and continues his career as Meg's #1 hater. While Meg struggles on the court, Peter frantically writes down nasty messages and shoves the board at Quagmire, demanding that he read them out loud. But the messages are so unbelievably messed up that even Quagmire refuses to say them.
You're doing to this game what R. Kelly did to all the... Yeah, no, I'm not saying the rest of it.
Not willing to give up, Lois joins the comedy team by standing up and awkwardly imitating Meg's weird tiptoe walk, creating a truly elite mother and father roast session from the bleachers.
Meg, honey, you used to walk pigeon-toed, but got better with the right shoes.
Ironically, Meg's team advances to the championship after the opposing team is disqualified for having a player secretly impersonated by actor Gilbert Gottfried, complete with his trademark screechy voice.
I have to do something.
In the final seconds, Meg finds herself carrying the entire team's fate with 2 crucial free throws. The pressure gets to her, and she horribly misses the first shot. Furious and overwhelmed, Meg calls a timeout, storms into the stands, and unloads years of resentment on Peter.
And now the one moment when I need it, you've got nothing? Well, guess what, you tubby piece of crap? I don't need you.
Screaming that she never needed a fat, useless dad like him. And then comes the ultimate showdown. Peter now has a choice: protect his vocal cords or deliver the one line that has defined his relationship with Meg for years. He chooses violence. Ignoring the doctor's warning, Peter summons every last ounce of strength, strains his damaged throat, and forces out the most brutal whisper imaginable. Shut up, Meg.
Shut up, Meg.
What did you say?
Shut up, Meg.
In reality, Peter's trash talking was just his way of motivating Meg to play better, but some of those insults still hit pretty hard, don't they, guys?